During the welcoming of the Lunar New Year, the Chinese government broadcasted their annual live variety show. During the African song and dance, the act started with singers and dancers performing a number to celebrate traditional African culture. When the viewers noticed that the performers were Chinese people doing blackface. Blackface is when a person changes their skin color or their facial features to appear more black. Racism is a really big problem in China, as Chinese people mistreat black people. With the recent pandemic going on, black people were forced to take coronavirus tests and were ordered to self-isolate either at their houses or at hotels. Landlords evicted them from their houses, leaving them to live in the streets. Even restaurants refused to give service to black people. Because of the backlash that this performance had on the internet, the government was forced to speak up. And the only thing they had to say is that this performance was made to pay respects for the culture. But it's not the first time that they did a performance like this, because in 2018, they also did a performance where a Chinese woman was blackfacing and they had her put on a fake body to assemble an African body and wear a basket on her head portraying this African stereotype.
Africa is a continent where presents economic and social challenges. African economies continue to suffer from low diversification, making them highly vulnerable to commonly prices and weather conditions. By 2009, China was already Africa's first trading partner, overtaking the United States. In Africa, the economy doesn't monopolize everything. It is the only one piece that serves as the basis of much more profound and multifaceted geopolitical aspirations. Right now, China has a very appropriate place in its long-term strategy for Africa, finding in the continent not only a docile and profitable ally, but also a laboratory in which to put its model of hegemony into practice. People of African descent living in China are often described as having excess of visas, not paying taxes, and evading Chinese culture. Also, African immigrants and African-Chinese mixed marriage are commonly described as the fatality of the Chinese race. Due to these causes, there is a clear discrimination from China to Africa.
In the newscast such as CNN World, its focus lies more on how the city of Guangzhou became the community with the largest African population in the entire continent. In this report, it refers to how many African people were compulsorily subjected to practice a forced quarantine of 14 days in conjunction with coronavirus test. They present it as a preventive test or as a model of health due to the pandemic, while their citizens themselves were not forced to do this test or their quarantine. Due to these events, dozens of people were left homeless or were evicted by owners, causing them to be rejected by the hotels under the guise of measure to protect the population by COVID. In this note, it's a general approach to the news were not being subdued. It shows, unlike the second newscast. In the forum of Human Rights Watch, they tell us more in depth, not only about forced testing or mandatory quarantines. Here they further detail the fact that the authorities or citizens themselves were committing acts of violence of the same African citizens. Because they were not asked their travel history, they were only subjected to testing, causing many people to lose jobs or homes up to the right in hotels to maintain their stay due to loss of housing.
Pretty sad to see Chinese people being racist towards black people, as you may think that because they're both part of a minority group in certain parts of the world, that they will stick together and don't be racist towards each other. But it's not what we're seeing, and it's sad, and hopefully the Chinese government and Chinese citizens take accountability of what they're doing.